Hey, what's going on? It's the Bearded Realtor. Oops, maybe not the Bearded Realtor. Hey, I'm the Bearded One, and I'm back at you again with a new video. Hey, so in today's video, we're gonna talk about those 5 things that I learned from my first flip. We just got closed on that property yesterday. I definitely had a great learning experience from this, and thank the Lord, I didn't lose any money in this deal. So I'm gonna give you my 5 things that I learned from my first flip. Be right back. Alright, so before I get into today's video, let me introduce myself. I am Maurice Murphy. I used to be called the Bearded Realtor back in the day, but some trademark infringements happened, and now I call myself the Bearded One. So that's a little bit about that story of how that happened. I'll eventually tell the full story, but for now, we'll just leave that alone and put it to the side for right now. So on this channel, we talk about real estate and we talk about life in Jacksonville, Florida. So I am a real estate agent, been one for the past 3 years, and I just completed my first fix and flip. And so this video will give you the 5 things that I learned in that flip. So let's get started in the video. So the first thing I learned is do your due diligence. Do your due diligence. So when I started this project and when I found this house that I really wanted, my mind just started racing. I was thinking of all the possibilities I can have with it, so much income, so many different ways I can use this property to do what I thought would work for me. So when I first initially found the house, it's in a great location here in Jacksonville, close to shopping, restaurants. It's right in Bay Meadows. If you're familiar with Jacksonville, anyone that knows what Bay Meadows is, it's a very nice location. 10 to 15 minutes from the hospital, 10 to 15 minutes from the St. John's Town Center, which is a big outdoor shopping mall we have here in Jacksonville. So I was thinking, man, this would be a perfect Airbnb. So I started doing a little research, figuring out, okay, how much a night it would go for and all of that. I started doing all of my due diligence. So the thing that I didn't do, my due diligence was, it's in an HOA community. And with the HOA community, you are not allowed to have short-term rentals. The shortest amount of time that I could rent in that neighborhood was 90 days. So for me and my partner to do an Airbnb where we're rented out once a week or whatever the case may be, every other night, weekends, it was just not gonna work. So that was the first thing I learned, because what I had to do was go back and read the actual bylaws and covenants and restrictions for that neighborhood. And as clear as day, it said right there, you cannot do it. Now, here's the catch to that. I also did not look this up until after I closed on the property. This was after closing. I had already started thinking of things. So this after closing, I didn't think of this before I bought the property. So I had to make a shift and figure out another strategy for what I wanted to do with the property. So that's the first thing I learned. Do your due diligence. Second thing I learned was get a design consultation. I am very close friends with an interior designer here. We've been doing business for a very long time. Shout out to Interior Revitalize. They do a lot of my stagings. They do a lot of my business here with me and other agents here in Jacksonville. So I reached out to my girl, Christy, who's their owner and designer. And what I did was I had her give me an hour consultation of how we could make this house look better than what it is. So she came in because I don't know much about design. I mean, I know what I like, but I don't know how to take something from where it is now to make it look even better. So, and she gave me a lot of points, gave me a lot of ideas. We were able to come out with a great product once we finished. I originally wanted to go with light gray flooring. She said, no, you want to go with an oak or a natural wood color. And that's what we did. Also, she recommended I was going to basically keep the same cabinets. She was like, no, we got to get new cabinets, because at this time, my strategy had to change. Because when I first started, I was just going to Airbnb it. So same cabinets, put in some new countertops, nice new kitchen, perfect. But I had to change my strategy, so that made me have to change my design and how we put the house together. It was $150 for an hour of her time, and basically she gave me the lay of how I should put this project together. So that's how we did this project. I had her come in and help me put it together. So that's number 2, use a design consultation to help you put together your project, okay? Third thing was contingency plan, especially with money. Make sure you have a little extra money put in the kitty to do any contingency plans. Because here's what happened. Original plan, I basically was not going to redo the bathroom. I was gonna basically redo the vanity, but not redo the shower. The shower looked really bad. She told me to do it, but my thought process was, hey, I'm only gonna Airbnb it, so I don't really need to redo the shower. But as my situation changed, we had to shift once again, and we had to redo this shower, which kind of ties back to doing your due diligence. Make sure you have a plan in place of how you want things to be done. You always wanna really dissect that plan, show it to somebody else, and have them punch holes in it of where you're missing or where you have blind spots in this plan. So that was another thing. Have a contingency plan, because we ultimately end up having to take the glass block shower down, and we had to do an entire new shower. Granted, it only cost us a couple $1,000s, but that still goes into our pockets to have to get that repairs done. So I always have a contingency plan to get it done, which is having a little bit of extra money to get other things done that may come up. So the fourth thing I learned is work with the right people. Having the right team is very crucial to when you're doing any type of construction, renovation. Having the right team in place is vital to what you got to get done. You want to make sure you always communicate between you and that contractor, you and that subcontractor, whoever it is you have working for you. You want to always communicate, always put things in writing. You always want to have a great team around you to where there's no miscommunication, there's no misunderstanding. We all on the same page and we know what's expected. So always have a great team work with you. I was fortunate to have a good team. We got a lot of things done for this house, and we were able to get this thing closed without any issues, all right? And the fourth and final thing is lessons learned. Lessons learned and the end result. So the end result was we made a little bit of money. I won't really go into the figures in this video, but I will shoot a second video to kind of break down renovation costs, purchase price, forwarding costs, and all of that. We made a little bit of money off of this project, which turned out to be very nice. So the one thing that I learned was I need to basically, as the project's going on, write down things that happen so you can go back for your next project and understand what not to do the next time. Things come up. I'll give you an example of something I learned. So the one thing I learned is we scraped the ceiling, took it down from the popcorn ceiling to the new texture ceiling, and we also painted. So the thing I learned from that was just do the texture ceiling and then paint later once everything is completed, because we could paint it very early in the project and we still had a lot of things to do along the way. We still had to put in new cabinets, we still had to put in flooring, we still had to put in baseboards. So we still had a lot of things to do before the project was even close to being complete. So that's something that I learned, those lessons learned. Write those things down so you know what not to make mistakes on the next project. And as time goes on, you'll learn how the process goes. But your first few times, you're still in the learning process. You're still trying to figure things out. Just write it down so you'll take mental notes of what not to do the next time something happens. All right, so those are my 5 things. 1, do that due diligence. 2, get a design consultation. You always want to have that expert come in and tell you how to make things better. 3rd thing is contingency plan. Have that extra money set aside for anything that may come up. You never know what may happen. You start tearing down walls, you started putting up flooring, and then you have a bigger problem that you weren't really expecting. 4th thing is work with the right team. You always want to have a great team in place. If something bad happens, you always want to find the right people to work with. And when you find those right people to work with, no matter their cost, you always want to try to stick with those people, because you understand the work that they do. They may cost you a little bit more money, but they're well worth it in the end. And the 5th and final thing is write down those lessons learned throughout the project. If something bad happens, you're like, damn, we shouldn't have did that. Just write those things down so you know for the next project that doesn't happen again. Those are my 5 things that I learned in my first fix and flip. God, thank you so much. Everything worked out well. We made a profit. We didn't take a loss. We got all of our money back for this project, okay? So that's all I have for today. First fix and flip. If you haven't checked out that video, I'll put it in the card here somewhere, and then you can check out that video, okay? So that's all I have for you today. I am the Bearded One, Jacksonville, Florida real estate agent, Maurice Murphy, and I'll talk to you soon.